Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to do a brand new campaign with Ikkit for Skaven. So if you enjoy the content, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out a ton on the channel. Check out the rest of the content as well. We have over 100 campaigns, starting from the very beginning of Total War Warhammer 1 all the way up until the present. So be sure to check all that out. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. All one word. Let me know what you have in mind. It's just $3 an episode, minimum 10 episodes. And I'll try to get that to you as soon as I can. But yeah, just email, let me know what you're thinking. We can probably make that happen. Okay, so I'm doing something a little unusual here, in that I'm doing a Skaven campaign right after another Skaven campaign, because I just kind of want to compare and see how Clan Molder stacks up against Ikkit. I have played both in the past, but it's been a while, and Ikkit was one of my favorite campaigns of all time when it came out in Warhammer 2. So I figured I'd try it out, and I'm going to be trying that rush tier 5 in your main town as fast as possible with food. So I'd never really tried that before. I read somewhere that, that was a strategy. It might even be meta, what most people do, which is abandon your initial town and then reoccupy it and bump it up to tier 5. So I'm eager to see how that would work out with Ikkit. So we recently doing a Clan Molder campaign, so go by, check that out. That's been a really fun time. I might still release some more episodes on that. I've got 10 to 12 episodes so far. Had some really good fights. It's always a great campaign anytime you're playing Skaven. So be sure to check that out on the channel as well. I'll probably have it linked at the end of this video. But on to Ikkit. So the Skaven in general, I think they're probably the best designed faction, or they're certainly up there, because each legendary lord feels very different. Among other reasons. They start in different places, they specialize in different units, they all have different little tricks they do, different campaign mechanics that are really cool. So I think it's just a super well-designed faction over time, and they feel powerful if you do it right, if you, play into what their strengths are, and you can adjust kind of tactically to do what that particular lord does with Skaven. But they can also be pretty lackluster and weak if you don't play to their strengths. So I think they're one of the most balanced factions in the sense that they're really strong in some circumstances, and they can be really weak if you don't play around them correctly. So I just think that adds to a lot of great strategy in the game. And they have some of the most diverse units as well. Not only do they have a lot of just units in general, but many of them are very different tactically on the battlefield than other units that they have. So they're really well-rounded. It's kind of like what Empire or what human type factions should be. Usually those are kind of the jack of all trades, master of none. That's sort of what Skaven are too. Okay. But anyway, so you get the Forbidden Workshop, which is probably the coolest mechanic. The Flesh Lab is also cool. The schemes by Clan Eshin is also pretty cool. But the lab is awesome. We get 20 research weight. We have some pretty good techs, although their overall tech tree is a little bit lackluster, as we'll talk about when we get there. At least for the early portion of the game, they have a pretty clear strategy, especially with Ikkit, to get to some nice techs. Get extra loyalty for recruits, which is cool. 40% for engineering buildings. This is going to come in very handy as we try to, get those tier 5 buildings as fast as possible, and we're going to be on a budget early on. And then you get a discount for all of your weapons teams, and you get +2 recruit rank for your weapons teams. Okay, so as usual, we're doing Legendary, very hard, and we'll just leave everything else the same. We do Iron Man as well. That used to be stock with Legendary, but they took that off for whatever reason. But we're doing Iron Man. We're living with whatever decisions we make. I just think it makes it more interesting for a strategy game. If you screw up, you got to deal with it and figure out how to deal with it. So, here we go. But yeah, the weapons teams are very unique, I think, to Skaven. They have offered some of these types of units to other factions in Warhammer 3 with DLCs and things. So they had like the Hawkland snipers or whatever with the purple human DLC. I can't remember her name, but the Wiesenland DLC. So they have some snipers. And there's a couple other, I think the Cathay has snipers as well. But Skaven still are kind of the kings of weapons teams. And they're all very different tactically, which is pretty cool. Spotter's eyeglass. I feel like this item might be random. Is I feel like when I was just scouting this out that it was like a better item. But, I mean, whatever. We'll play through it anyways. So we'll just show you a couple of the units, and we'll get into a fight. We'll talk about our overall strategy. And I always like to explain things, especially in the first couple of episodes, just in case you want to play through yourself and try to, you know, make some of these decisions or make some different decisions. One thing that I noticed right away that was different from Clan Molder is you're able to get the techs at level 1 whenever you get these level 1 buildings. For some reason, with Clan Molder, one of these techs, I think it was this one, the growth one, is locked behind breeding stock. And this is a very important tech. So that means it's going to take you an additional 3 turns before you can start getting that tech. So you're literally doing nothing for those 3 turns, which feels really bad with the technologies. I'm not sure why they changed that. This was also on a different thing, I believe. But I know the breeding stock one is. So basically, that's what we're going to get first, just so we can get the tech. But what we want to do is get into ferocious plans as much as possible. Now, ruthless plans can be good too. It's debatable early on if you want to get that 1 food generating every turn. That definitely does add up because we're going to go into really low food. So we'll probably want to pick that up at some point. But getting the local recruitment capacity is massive as we're just trying to stack as many units as possible in our army so we can be as aggressive as possible early. Then you get post-battle loot, you get some clan rat stuff. Clan rats with all these buffs are actually a pretty efficient unit. I know a lot of people do like just going Skaven slaves, and those are cheaper. So maybe for like your 2nd, 3rd, 4th army, you can start doing some Skaven slaves, but these things get some really nice stuff, like extra 10 armor, 5 melee attack, expendable is massive. That means if one of your units starts running and it's a clan rat, it doesn't cause any leadership penalties for all of the other units. I believe it might, other expendable units might run. Okay, so it will cause chain with other expendable units, but it won't, at least it won't freak out your weapons teams or anything like that if they start running. So that's pretty handy. And then yeah, you get the recruit rank, take everything. This Menace from Below is one of the bigger ones. It's kind of strange because they named that a tech, but that's also like the name of your ability for summoning up the rat, so it's a little confusing. But the technology, the +10 leadership is great. Skaven has notoriously low leadership, and missile resist is also pretty nice. And then you can get down into volatile plans. This is one of the only ones you can get into that's this far on the tech tree without needing another prerequisite. So to get to something like carve undertunnels, for example, which is good, you have to go through this middle tree and this top tree to get down to it. And to get record effective recipes, you have to have both of those as well as the hallucinogenics. So this is just a really good streamlined way to get to the techs that you want. Gives you 20 or 5% upkeep reduction on all your weapons teams, extra ammo on your weapons teams, recruit rank, and then extra range, which is huge, and extra missile strength. So all of that is really nice. And then you can actually go over into ingenious plans as well without needing any other prerequisites, and you can get to promoted on merit, which is good for your doom wheels, your catapults, stuff like that. It's a pretty good old bonus. Requisite gear, 10 armor for weapons teams is kind of whatever, 5 armor for storm vermins. That can be really nice on the drills though, because they have to get into melee. And then 10 extra weapon strength and missile strength on your vehicles. So all in all, pretty good plan there. And then the stuff in the middle is okay. You get the 1 food if you want that. The extra growth is kind of whatever, which we'll see. Usually we'll just be using food for growth, probably later on in the campaign. Loyalty for recruits is alright. The 10% campaign movement range is pretty good. And this stuff down here is pretty bad for what we're doing here. Like, this can be alright with the Eshin guy. But overall, this is a pretty weak tree. And then getting over to the plague stuff, also something that we're probably not going to be using a lot of. It's good if you have the plague guy. We might have to eventually get it just to get record effective recipes so we can go to plans within plans. Extra recruitment capacity and replenishment is obviously very good. And then ultimate experiments. We got growth fats, and then you can, with your Vermintide, Undercity, you get Storm Vermin everywhere, which is pretty huge. I've never really used that mechanic that much, but because of the tier 5 building that we're going to get here in a little bit, I think that that actually could be a really good mechanic later on in the campaign. So we'll check it out. And then this stuff down here is assassination, death runner stuff is okay. 2 recruit rank for storm vermin is okay. Diplomacy doesn't really matter. Most people are going to hate you. So it's okay. But yeah, we definitely want to get to ferocious plans ASAP so we can get that recruitment. And then we'll think about the ruthless plans. Okay, let's go ahead and get a fight here. And then we'll talk some more. Okay, so another huge bonus here is you start off with a... Now, I maybe should have... You start off with a Warlock Engineer. I maybe should have gone here first and then attacked. I don't think it's going to matter that much, though. But you get magic. So that's huge because the Clan Molder guy, you get a... the monster hero, this guy, Packmaster, and he doesn't have any magic, and he's not an amazing fighter early on. And the Clan Molder guy himself doesn't have any magic, so magic is kind of hard to come by, but Skaven have really good magic early on with this Warp Lightning. For only 6, it does quite a bit of damage to just chunked out infantry. It's got really good range if you want to try to snipe stuff out. Enemy artillery, archers, whatever. It's got good range on it too. And then he also gets a Brass Orb, which is a really nice Vortex spell that doesn't cost anything. So we've got 2 things of Warp Lightning here, so it's really, really good starting army. And you have all these weapons teams that are good. Okay, so we're going to attack this. And they've changed the geography down here a little bit, I believe. And I haven't practiced this campaign, so I'm not 100% sure how this is going to go down. But I think Moraliano is going to be caught up trying to fight Sartosa, I hope, early on. And then they added another town here at Montanas, and I think there's a Beastman over here somewhere. So there's more towns here. There's 5 total towns owned by Astalia, and there's Beastmen that we're gonna have to try to kill. So humans are usually pretty easy to kill. Beastmen, we'll see, could be tricky. But we can get some clan rats with spears early, so hopefully that'll help out. Okay, so for some reason they think this is going to be close. I don't think we're going to need any of these. You can use 3 food to get to extra menace from below. And this just allows you to summon up clan rats. Now they only last for like a minute. I think they've been nerfed over time. But they only last for a minute or 2. I'm not sure exactly how long, but you can summon them anywhere on the map if you have a charge. So they're great for like taking out enemy artillery, for just protecting your backline, protecting your weapons teams. If there's about to be some cavalry charging in there or something, you can summon up the clan rats to tie them up. So it's got a lot of utility. You can put them behind the infantry line if you don't have any flankers, and just get them to just get in there and flank just to cause that extra leadership bonus. So it's a really powerful spell. Okay. I think we're good. Yeah, we should be able to fight it. I think this starting army is probably stronger too. You do get a mutant rat ogre and some normal rat ogres with Clan Molder, but these weapons teams are strong in their early games. So we've got some rattling gunners that are like pretty good range. I think they're like 140 range, and they're basically machine guns. Just do a ton of damage to infantry. And they have a slowing debuff they put on people, so it slows their speed by 30%. Huge armor-piercing damage. They are a gunpowder type of unit, so you know they're going to be ineffective around hills and things like that. So we probably don't want to try to fight them on these hills. You know, and they're going to be affected by a tree line and stuff like that. So you got to be, you know, they're a little finicky. They can work really well, and you have to be careful because they will shred the heck out of your units too. And these Doom Flayers are really good anti-infantry. They get plus 35 versus infantry, so they end up getting 60 melee attack and doing 95 damage each. Mostly armor-piercing damage, so very, very good. And then if they are in melee, then they get an extra 24 armor, so 114 armor. So they're pretty handy. Have a good charge bonus. They're about as close as you're going to get to real cavalry. Probably move move a couple of these dudes over some more here. Just so we can put these up a bit more. Spread these out as far as we can. So we have the most surface area. Okay. Alright. What do we want to... We want to snipe probably their archers. Got some pretty good range there. But yeah, we don't want to get in the way of the archers. I want to see if we can just distract them a little bit, just get them a little concerned. They're about in range. Use the flamethrower stuff there. Pretty close fight. I'm glad they made us fight it.
Our tail's yours. Rattling gun. Guide us on one.
This actually didn't do as much damage as I was thinking they would. Alright, we'll end the battle. Okay, and there's that rocket icon. If you didn't notice that in the bottom right, you can get these things Doom rockets, which is basically like a huge nuke, just about that you can throw down. It has a huge area that basically, I don't remember how much damage it is, but it just deletes any infantry that it hits. And it'll do a lot of damage to monstrous infantry. It won't like kill single targets, or like really big things, but it's really good. And I believe all of your armies can do it. It might just be Ikkit. Now, you don't get a lot of food just from taking towns. You really need to kill armies to get the food. And I was a little bit scared about this before, because I was like, oh my god, 2 food. But once you start killing actual armies, you can get up to like 20. You might even be able to get more than that. Now, we could sack and occupy this, but it's got a port. And usually ports are very expensive to repair. You don't have the option of just occupying it straight up. It's always got to be loot and occupy. So public order is going to be an issue for Skaven, which makes sense. But you can click this, and it won't let me click any more than that. But basically, you can click it all the way up to tier 5, and it costs 20 extra food to go to tier 2, 40 extra food to go to tier 3, 80 food for tier 4, and then 120 food for tier 5. So I think a good strategy in a town that has definitely, or a province that has 4 towns, but possibly in some 3-town provinces, would just be to buff up your main town. Just use the 40 food to buff it up to tier 3. And then you can get a building. Nice. Get spotter, which is kind of a bad item. Now you can sell these items if they're really bad for like 100 gold too, if you really need it. Yeah, we got some stuff there. So yeah, this ports have been nerfed a lot, so they're pretty underwhelming if we're going to be honest. They're 20 food, but they're only 100 income instead of the 200 that it used to be. But okay, we got that. Now, sometimes this guy does try to make a run at us, so that could leave us a little bit vulnerable. I think we just want to go food. It's going to be corrupt, but we need to try to get to 120 food as fast as possible. And I think we need to go tier 2 so that we can get the drills. The drill team is really crucial, a crucial addition, because it's only tier 2, which is good, and it can just basically just annihilate walls, doors, whatever, whenever you get up there, and in a siege. And it has this spell, Warp Quake, which does like 130 damage a second to enemy infantry and does not hit your own units. So basically it just kills infantry, just deletes it within 35 range. That's incredibly powerful on those sieges where everybody's stacked up around the door. If you have a couple of drill teams, you just take turns activating this, it'll just kill everybody. So it's very, very strong. And then you've got the seismic snare, which roots them so they can't run away before you do the Warp Quake. So these units are really strong. They got 70 armor, 96 weapon strength, almost all armor piercing, but their other stats are kind of low. They got 20 melee, 18 melee defense, so you don't want to frontline these things, but if you sprinkle them in with your other infantry, they can do a lot of damage. And they've only got 4,000 HP, and there's only 24 in a stack. So they can be vulnerable, but they're really good. Hi.
Where's my iPad?
It's in the bathroom on the red stool. Your bathroom on the red stool. Did you have a fun day?
Yeah.
Get to meet some new friends? No, you just hung out with your old friends? Okay. So yeah, we want to get that. And just on a note as well, if you don't do this food to tier 5 thing, it's probably never going to happen, because what'll end up happening with Skaven corruption is once this maxes out all the way, you're going to get another -5 public order. And especially if you're playing on legendary, you get -8 all the time anyway, so that's -13 unavoidable public order. And when you get to negative growth over here, you get +8, but you're still going to have to spend to get one of these public order things just so you don't go to rebellion territory. And that ends up being -20 growth. So even if you upgrade this all the way up, you're only going to get 40 growth plus, if you're at tier 3, that's 36 growth. So you're going to get 76 growth. So you're only going to have 56 growth per turn. And I don't know, and there's only one town in this province, right? There's only one growth building you can get. So I don't know the exact number on the growth. I think it's 150, 300, 600, 1200, 1800 maybe. So it's something probably like 5,000 growth. So it's going to take forever. Like 70 plus turns or something like that to try to get to tier 5. If you're not doing it with food, if you just try to do it with growth, because Skaven does have good growth buildings, and their baseline buildings do come with a lot of growth, but that's if you have multiple towns. If you have like a province with 4 towns in it, yeah, they grow really fast. You can get to, 200 or 300 growth, but in these single stack towns, it's bad. So that's the downside, but the good side is if you put this all the way up, because you have so many building slots here, and you can build almost everything, and have a pretty wealthy town. on that note, you also have three really good sort of landmark buildings you can get here. One at tier 3 is pretty nice. You get extra reserve capacity, you get an extra rank for artillery, you get 8 extra food though, so that alone is probably worth it. Food is kind of hard to come by, and then you get a little bit of income, so it's nice. It does let you get your weapons teams faster if you don't do the tier 5 growth thing, but you probably still just want to get normal arsenal building anyways, just so you can get the poison wind mortars, which are really powerful, and the death glow bombardiers. Now these might be 2-turn hires. If they're 2 turns, I'm not sure if they're worth it. It'll be more questionable, but these are 1-turn hires, and these are really nice because then when your units are already, you know, caught up in the infantry clump, these things can still chuck their stuff like grenades over your line and hit their line. So it's a lot more accurate than trying to fire, plague claw catapults into your own units. So that's pretty handy. And then your other buildings you have here are Council of the 13, which is +1 control faction-wide, which is okay. Ward recruit rank is good. Corruption is not going to matter. Everything's going to be corrupt anyways. And you get 1 extra global recruitment capacity, so that's pretty handy. And 6% income from all buildings is kind of whatever. That is decent. Now, this is the crazy one, though. Shattered Tower. So the cooldown for your under Empire expansion is 5 turns. That's huge, because usually it's a 10-turn cooldown. This makes it 5. So that means you can run around a Warlock Engineer and just put all these Skaven Undercities, almost everywhere. So that's a pretty good thing, in the mid to late game to do. And then it's going to spread corruption everywhere. So all of your provinces are going to spread 6 corruption everywhere, which is going to give you a lot of extra menace from below that you can use when you're fighting new people. So pretty powerful landmark buildings, especially this one, versus the one at Clan Molder is like okay, but not great for how expensive it is. Okay, let's do some more hiring and then we'll do some more fights. Okay, so for Ikkit Claw, as usual, you want to go in the blue tree. I think getting Inspiring Presence early is probably worth, just so that you get the extra 5 leadership and you get 75 experience on your units, which is kind of cool. But other than that, you probably want to go in blue. You get to Draft Master, which is okay. You do get Ancient Cunning if you want 30% ambush. Skaven can ambush on attack, so that's handy. Looter is also nice for looting settlements. And then this stuff in blue is good. Of course, you got Lightning Strike, which means you can just kind of solo 1v1 armies, even if the enemy has multiple armies present. It's one of the most powerful skills in the game. You have minus 10% upkeep. Standard, pretty good. Then you've got Mine All Mine as well, which is plus 30% post-battle loot, which is massive, and 15% chance to steal a magical item, which is also really good. So that's an incredibly powerful 3 points there. And then, of course, you got Feared and Renown, which is one of the best 1 points in the game. Now, we are a little bit more concentrated here. With Clan Molder, Molder Knowledge just sucks. I'm going to be honest, in the red tree. It's extra movement speed and charge bonus. It's just not great. But Blastmaster is pretty good. You get 20% extra ammo and 8% reload time. So that means all of your weapons teams are going to be firing faster. They're going to have more ammo. A lot of times they do have kind of low ammo. So it's not insanely powerful because it's not extra damage, but they do fire faster, which is cool. And then this is a really nice one too. So you get reload time, ammo for like your Plague Claw catapults, but then you also get extra armor and charge bonus for your Doom Wheel and Doom Flayers. Now those can cycle charges a little bit better. The percentage is kind of lame. I wish it was a flat amount, but it's still pretty decent. So the red tree is okay, but I still think blue tree is where you want to be, aside from just getting this Inspiring Presence for the extra leadership. And then his specialty stuff, minus 10 for spells, loyalty, extra capacity, so you get an extra Warlock Engineer. That's pretty handy because those are hard to come by. Warp Fuel, we'll talk about that in a second. You get more of that, which is good. Concentrated Flame, so good against anti-large. Now this is just when he's on foot does he have this 5 ammo missile stuff. Once he gets on the Doom Flayer or the Doom Wheel, he doesn't have that anymore. So that's okay, but you'll probably want him on a vehicle later. So it's not as crazy. The 10% extra missile strength can be okay on a Doom Wheel. Local recruitment for Doom Wheel and Doom Flayer. So that's good if you're personally going to be there hiring, but most of the time we're going to be muling in units from other Skaven Lords that we hire to sit there and hire the stuff for us, or our Legendary Lord doesn't have to do it, or you're going to be globaling. And then Doomsday Scientist, so it does even more damage on your free spell, which is cool. And then he actually has a second row, which is interesting, where he personally becomes better at fighting in various ways. And I don't even remember what these do. Adrenaline Rush, Unbreakable, 50% extra damage. Whenever he casts a spell, who does it affect? Okay, so it affects one extra ally, so it's him, I think, whenever he casts stuff. Or Second Wind Serum. He heals for 15 seconds and gets 12 extra melee defense when he casts spells. Yeah, that's really good. So that might be worth getting later on in the game. So he's got a lot of toys to play with. And then, of course, he does get a Doom Flayer at rank 7, which is pretty fast for a mount. And then a Doom Wheel at rank 15. Okay. And then, what else do we have? I think we're just going to let this just rot. Well, it's 220, and we're going to get, I think it's 100, right? So we would get an extra, what, 63 per turn? So over 4 turns, it would pay for itself. I guess we'll fix it. Okay. And then we want to hire whatever we can hire here. I think the Slaves are fine. We don't really need the Slingers because we have so many like powerful range units anyways. I'd rather just have more meat to throw at them. Okay. And then we definitely want to hire another Lord here just so we can recruit more stuff. It is going to cost an extra food, which is unfortunate, but now we want the person with higher loyalty. If they have low loyalty like this, if we roll a 2, that could potentially be really bad, because then if we have to dismiss this guy later, if we want to use him to mule units or whatever, then he could mutiny. Even if you get rid of all the units, he could just turn into a rebel army, and he'll start off just like a normal rebel army with like 8 units, and he'll get like 6 per turn. It's kind of a bad scenario. Okay, so we'll go with this guy. What did we roll with here? 5. That's decent. And they get little dilemmas too over time where, you know, you can spend like 2 or 3 loyalty to gain a beneficial trait, or you can gain loyalty by declining extra income or a trait or an item or whatever. Okay, and then he's very similar. Where he gets a Doom Flayer, Doom Wheel, starts off with Warp Lightning. I think this is probably the best Lord overall to start with, unless you get huge bonuses from other factions, because he's anti-infantry, so he does pretty good. He has nice armor, he gets okay mounts, and best of all, he gets Warp Lightning. So at least he has magic right out the gate. When your other casters, it can take a little while to get them online. Now you can get a Grey Seer as well, and they have magic, obviously, but their magic is not as good early on. I guess you can get a Ruinous Grey Seer, and it would be the same thing, but they can't fight. They have like 20 armor, and they're just horrible in combat. They do get an okay mount later on, but this guy is serviceable. He's not the greatest fighter in the world, but he's pretty decent, and he has pretty good magic, and he gets good mounts. So you also get extra 9% replenishment for the Lord's army, which is massive, obviously. And then you get some different buffs. You get the Doom Wheel thing, like the recruitment duration, which is very good if you're going to use him as a mule to hire some Doom Wheel and other things. Then he gets upkeep reduction for weapons teams, which is good. We're going to have a lot of weapons teams probably. Or you can get construction cost and time for buildings. And then he also gets Brass Orb, which is more. Now, he doesn't get one to start with for free like Ikkit Claw does, but he can eventually skill in and get it later on in the game. Okay, let's talk. Well, let me hire with this guy. Actually, do we want... I could go for the food. I could also go for more recruitment. But I think I'm just going to have this guy run with me over here. Can we take Magrita? Where's this other place? Oh, it's way over there. Okay. Again, I haven't practiced this, so I'm not sure how strong Astalia is. We don't have drills yet. So we're not great at taking down doors. And these are not as good on sieges. Like, you know, all gunpowder units. Kind of bad on sieges. Now, he can attack the door. It doesn't do a lot, though. But I just don't think I can sit around and wait. Or we could just raid a lot. Now, I could hire another lord, too. To hire more units over here. And then eventually raid. Because we just need to get that food up. Raiding gives 3 food. So you can have a lord that's going to eat 1 food per turn, then you can raid and get 3 more food. Now you don't get any income from an area if you raid, but I'm not sure if we could beat them without drills. It's going to be 6 turns before we can get drills, though. Alright. Well, we'll do this, and then tech-wise, we can't do anything there yet. As far as the workshop goes, I'll try to go through this kind of quickly. So this is for Doom Flayers. These are like tier 4 units you can get. Some of the bigger ones, bonus versus infantry and charge bonus, and you have to pay 3 warp fuel, and you just randomly get this from battles. And then food, of course, is whatever food you want to pay for. So this is free warp lightning cast. So when you go into combat, your units your Doomflayer mounts will just cast warp lightning around them sometimes. 15-second cooldowns. That's a lot of free warp lightning. So basically when they charge in, they're just going to do a lot of extra damage to infantry. That's really strong. Plus 10 melee attack and 12% damage. And this is all armies get this. So this is massive. The 8 versus infantry and the 10 right here, that's 18 against infantry, and they're already like have 60, so that's going to give them what, 78 before you start thinking about chevrons and ranks and all that stuff. So they're going to hit hard. So that's really nice. Extra movement speed and Vanguard is kind of whatever. And then this stuff that requires level 2, you have to do so many upgrades, or you have to meet these criteria. So you have to use a Doom Rocket in battle, and you get 1,500 gold if you do that. You have to kill 1,000 units. We've got 810 dead right now. And then you have to get the Warpstone Tractor Beam, which I think is the tier 3 building, in order to finish that up. Then you can unlock tier 3 stuff. And then the more of these you get, I think it's each one fills up a bar, I believe. So it's like 1, 2 upgrades, you get this item that you can recruit. 3, 4 upgrades, you get this item. I think that's how that works. And then eventually you get this one, Sundered Armor and Attacks, okay. Then at the end, you get kind of like a Regiment of Renown unit available, the Black Hole Flayers, which is pretty cool. And they're like normal Flayers, but they have 3 uses of Brass Orb, that free Vortex spell, so that's pretty handy. But yeah, at tier 2, we get some more things that are pretty good. -3 for all characters that are on these. I believe they have to be mounted on a Doomflayer, although I'm not 100%. But all characters -3 on Scorch. That's a very good win spell for its cost. That'll make it super cost efficient. Doomflayer mounts, you get 1 use of getting a ton of magic, 44 seconds of 100% recharge and 0.2 reserves per second. Stalk, it's kind of whatever. Extra leadership for characters, probably doesn't matter that much. You do get some leadership aura with that one. Then you get 10 extra melee defense and ward save, so that's pretty good. They have very low melee defense, so that'll definitely help out. And then this requires tier 4, so this is a really big one. They get Sundered Armor, so that's pretty handy. And then the Doom Wheels, this is like your tier 5 unit. You get speed and charge bonus, which is kind of whatever. You get melee defense, that's pretty good. Extra armor and missile resist, it's kind of whatever. Reload reduction is okay. You do have a lot of ammo and it does do a lot of damage, so that's okay, but not as good as the Doomflayer stuff so far. Cooldown, Warp Lightning, which we've already talked about, very good spell, 10% extra cooldown on all your characters. Then you get weapon strength and bonus versus infantry, that one's really good. Spell resistant armor is okay. Double shot, so you basically fire twice every time your Doom Wheel fires. That one's really good. And then your Gyro Cogs, Perfect Vigor on all characters with Doom Wheels. That's underrated. That one's pretty good. And then this one is characters get double shot. So this one's just Doom Wheel units, not characters that get the double shot. This is all characters get double shot with Doom Wheels. Okay, and then weapons team. So I think this is probably the best place to go early on because we're just not going to have access to that other stuff for a little bit. But we've got onboard Waste Compactor. So this is Endless Drum, basically free reloads. And I think you can do this anytime you want. So it's basically infinite ammo on your Rattling guns. It just takes 5 seconds to reload. So that's obviously super good in really long fights, especially sieges. That can come in handy. Reload time reduction, say fire 15% faster, which is nice. And then 12% missile strength, which is good. So this is really handy. So that's one of the best like level 1s you can get. Rat Eye Scopes, you get Hawkish Precision, which basically 15% extra damage. That's really nice. Missile Resist and Stalk is kind of whatever. Extra range and 25% extra damage. Massive. That's tier 3, but it's good. Gout Boosters would probably not be using auto warp fire throwers. They are good, but I just think that the Rattling guns are better in almost every scenario. They just have longer range. They've got that suppressing fire, so it slows them by 30%. Yeah, I just think they're better. The warp fire throwers are really cool, but they're very short range. They're like 80 range. So they're good at because you can get them at tier 2 if you can't get anything else, but we already have so many weapons teams that are like tier 3 or higher that we probably won't need to get those unless we lose the other weapons teams. But we get 10% extra missile damage, which is okay, 25 armor, which is okay, but not great, and concentrated flame, so it's better against large units, but I mean, why not just have snipers, you know, against the large units? So this is pretty lackluster, but everything else is cool. And then this is interesting with the drills. So you get 30 extra melee on these things. So yeah, their baseline melee is not that great. It's like 25 or something, but with 30 extra, you know, then they could actually start hitting pretty hard. So that's a really interesting ability. And you're going to want at least one of these always for sieges. And I think 2 of them is definitely very reasonable. Witness Me. So if they get low on health, then they get 40% damage reduction. So that can be handy. And then this gives them regeneration, which is cool, and expendable. So that's handy. And you get one little thing here, which is kind of whatever. But then all the rest of these are this, like these 2, the Sniper's Cloak is cool to put on your snipers. Missile Strength is cool, you can put on your Rattling gun. But you get 3 different Regiments of Renown effectively on this one. You get a Warp Fire Thrower, you get a Sniper, and you get a Rattling gun. So these other ones usually you only get 1 at the very end, and you get more items. But with that one you get 2 or 3. And then finally, finally you have the Doom Rockets here. So you can upgrade these in various ways. I probably wouldn't do a ton of this early. The best one is where you can get a 2-for-1. Is this one, 25% extra chance to build an additional Doom Rocket, if you want to do that. Just cost 4, that's effectively going to be 1 extra, and then 100% to recover a warp fuel after using a Doom Rocket in battle. So if you use one of them, then you're going to get an extra one. So that can be sort of handy. Chance of extra winds of magic increasing in strength is kind of lackluster. You can store more if for some reason you need to store more than 5. Extra replenishment after you use one in battle, which is kind of whatever. Then you have extra dot damage, is probably going to kill everything anyways. But I think that Toxic Waste Salvage and Refined Warpstone are both okay if you want to go into that. But I would probably do weapons teams first.
Make teams better.
Okay. I think we're good here. Let me see if there's any quick deals. Pirates of Sartosa. We could try to play friendly with them. I wouldn't mind trading with them when we get more resources, but
The Empire.
we'll kind of wait and see how that plays out. Again, I haven't done a ton of
Skaven rights, greatest, best.
practice
inventor.
episodes or anything here. Okay, so we're getting slaves, we're getting clan rats.
Warlock bastards.
And we're trying to get to 120 food ASAP. Okay, so Beastman burned that. We probably need to go take care of that. Take care of the Beastman pretty quickly.
War blades upgraded.
Saboteur. I think we have to have a assassin. It's just kind of troll that they give us that. Okay, and we need to put that on the Warlock Engineer. Engineering student.
Engineer.
Spotter's Eyeglass.
Test subjects.
Forest Spotting. I guess that's fine. How
Plan
much?
Scryer.
Sell that for 100.
Science. Sorcery. Death.
Now, we don't have that much Winds of Magic, and we've got 2 units that can fire. I think Scorch is good, but I think we'll do Standardized Drill. It's really good with the weapons teams. I don't know, mobility is very nice too. I think we're going to need that firing drill, and then we want to get to triangulation ASAP.
Bigger warp forges.
Okay. Oh, God, that's a garrison. What the heck? So Billaby is going to be in trouble.
Where are my schematics?
I was thinking about just raiding over here, but
Good plan scheme.
I think I'm going to need to hire a little bit more. Maybe I should have done the hiring thing instead of the food thing. It's tough to know for sure.
More warpstone.
It's a little bold if he comes at me, but we do have the
Now, now.
warp thing if we need it. The nuke if we need it. Okay, what does this guy have? He's got a Gorbel. I'm assuming he's going to have Chaos Spawn too, because that's kind of what he specializes in.
Tinker, tinker.
A lot of potentially terror causing it's not good news when we've got such low leadership, but we do have spears. Poking them for, you know, almost no damage, but we can do it.
Warp lightning.
Okay. We want ferocious plans. We might just get rid of the growth building because we don't need the growth. Because we're not going up to tier 3. See, look, our growth right now is 35. Like, it's bad. It's gonna take a million years to grow up. So we just need to get to the drills. And we're probably good. I mean, I kind of would like to get a chieftain. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Kill contraption.
Okay, we got all that. We can do a workshop thing if we really need to. Need some upgrades.
Not likely. I'll ignore that.
It's gonna be tough. I don't know what we would get that.
More warpstone.
I mean, it would hurt our food. We're hiring in both places. I wonder if we don't. I don't think we need a third lord here.
Engineer of Scryer.
Um,
Warlock of Skaven Blight.
We do have some of these things too. Oh, if I do the expansionist planning, I need to do that at some point too.
Dad, can I say hi?
Recruitment costs. Yeah, you can say hi. It's 3,000 gold, and we're not really recruiting that much yet, but I'm gonna have the money. I'm trying to think. So we could go to expansionist planning here. 5 turns to get that food. Gonna need their recruiting too. We can go underway here. I mean, we could use our Doom Rocket on them, but then we can't use it on these guys. And because of these blood grounds, I think we would not be able to build something here. So I remember people talking about that on the Reddit, like if you abandon this and then try to build it without killing these guys first, that could be a problem.
Rats of war.
I mean, I could just wait a turn, siege them.
No.
They're probably going to have at least 12 units there, though. We'll see. We don't have to do it this turn. We could
Warp power.
build another Doom Rocket.
Doom comes from
I think
the
you can use
sky.
2 in the same battle. I'm not 100%. I'd really rather not do that.
Skaven Blast,
Okay.
greatest, best inventor.
Recruit. Do we just go for... I mean, there's something to be said just for getting another Lord, just to have another Lord to fight. It's going to be very expensive, though, and he's not an amazing fighter. He's like, okay. I think we'll wait. We're going to need some more money. Alright, let's look. Broken Nose is about to get knocked out by Beligar. I'll do this just to get money off of them before they perish. These guys are not going to like that, but they also just hate us anyway, so I don't think it's going to matter. Okay.
Diabolic devices.
See what they do. Really wish I just had like one drill team. Oh. Did he just int into them? The Beastman guy? Hi. Get that, and then I think we'll try to get the 1 food a turn. Nice. Yeah, it looks like he just tried to attack him and got shut down. What is it, Rowan?
Why his feet is tied up?
Why is what tied up?
Why his feet is tied up?
Oh, honey, because it's hard to explain. It's just basically like clothes for the chair, because it's a really old chair. It's falling apart. Yeah, just try to just leave it alone there for a little bit if you can. Okay, so they look injured.
My technocracy.
I can't get to this place yet. It's a crazy garrison. Can't.
Machines and then sorcery.
So start driven by hunger.
Storm demon.
I just don't think we'd have the money to go for an extra one. Did he sack it? Oh, they ran?
By Sigma, no.
Wait, they can run out of the town?
No. Where are my schematics?
That's crazy. Okay, so this guy just sacked it instead of burning it. Now he's raiding.
Dad? Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Which friend you're talking to?
Oh, I'm just making a video right now. There's nobody live on there that's talking. I'm surprised they ran. They have 12 units.
Daddy, what are you talking to?
I guess they're kind of injured.
We are talking to.
Honey, it's a recording. It's like talking to a phone or something. I don't know, just whichever friends want to watch it.
Not logical. Good scheme.
Take this guy, God.
Test subjects.
I think we'll beat them. It'll have to be next episode, though, because we're kind of out of time. So I know it's a bit of a slow episode. I just like explaining everything for people that, you know, might want to try the episode or might want to try the campaign out themselves. Just seeing if it's raining or not. I probably need to go get a mow in the yard or something. We'll get back in here. I think we'll be able to do this with no Lord. They don't have any exposed walls. It's going to be a little tricky. I mean, the other option would be we could just... Yeah, we're definitely not killing our weapons teams and our hero. Could get siege towers if we wait a turn. That would help some. But I think just walking up the siege towers is just not going to work super well. Oh, there it is. Range damage. 11,000. Yeah, it's 216. So yeah, I mean that'll kill most things. How are we gonna do this? Just a walk up with him and just beat down the door, I guess. You can have rattling guns fire at stuff on the rafters. Like, they're not great at it, but they're okay. These things could maybe go try to take down, like, a different gate. Wish these could, like, fire at walls. That'd probably be OP. I don't know. They might have a bunch of archers on the walls. We can also just use our stuff on. I think we'll win. I think just... I mean, we could even just put Ikkit Claw up on the rafters, probably. And this dude up on the rafters. And when they come up to try to match them, then we can just shoot at them. We'll figure something out. But anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, subscribe if you did. And I'll see you next time.